Hi, we are at the European University Institute at the conference for the 10th-year anniversary of the EU ETS. This conference was organized by FSR Climate in collaboration with DG Climate Action. And here with us we have Jos Delbeke, the Director General of DG Climate Action, and it can be considered the father of the EU ETS. So, Jos, how the ETS has worked in these 10 years?
Well, we succeeded in the EU to decouple economic growth from emissions growth. So our economic growth since 1990 has been up 45% and emissions have been down 20%. And the ETS played a very important role into that achievement. Now, how did it work? The moment that there was a price on an emission of a ton of carbon, all CEOs knew that price cutting was the thing they had to do. And so that message came down deeply in all companies in Europe. And as the ETS is covering half of the emissions of Europe, means all major industrial installations in Europe in exactly the same way, in a harmonized way, whether these industries are located in Sweden or in Poland or in the south of Italy or wherever, they are treated in the same manner. So we have an internal marketing, we have an internal market dimension, we have an incentive to industry, and we have a cost-cutting exercise that all CEOs are looking for now. And that explains why in industry emissions have been cutting down.
And now, currently, there is an important debate regarding reforming this instrument and speak about the market stability reserve. Can you tell us something about it, why it is needed, and what are your expectations regarding this new reform?
Yes, we just made a political agreement in Brussels between the three institutions, between Parliament, Council and the Commission. And I think it's a good agreement. And what does it do? In fact, we have an oversupply that is in the market due to two reasons. The economic recession, which reduced demand for allowances, and the import of credits from CDM, the Kyoto credits as we commonly also name them. And the combination of the two made that we have an oversupply of between 1 and 2 billion allowances in the market. Now, what is the Market Stability Reserve doing? It is putting this reserve into a fridge. You never know, we may need them in the future, but in any case, they are taken out from market functioning. And that is going to start as of 2019. And I think that we can expect that the prices, which are currently quite low on the ETS, are going to go up, so that they are meaningful and change economic behavior in the energy sector, in the manufacturing sector, and that is what the purpose is. The prices should make a difference, otherwise, we do not reach our targets.
And last question, how do you see the ETS 10 years from now, both in the context, the European context, but also in the international context?
Well, we see that more countries are also exploring carbon markets, and some of them are very big. In China, for example, we see quite an interesting experiment. They cover now 20% of the Chinese economy, and Chinese proposals are on their way to expand the system for China as a whole. If that were to be the case, say by 2020, that would mean that the carbon trading system of China would be at least twice as big as the European system. So that would make a real change internationally. But also others are developing their system, like Korea, and California, we know some regions in Canada. So I think that the carbon pricing experiment is taken forward. Of course, we would have hoped that also the United States and other major players in the Annex 1 or in the OECD countries would come on board. We work together with the World Bank for doing that. We are explaining to them the infrastructure that is necessary, and some of them are building that up. So in 10 years from now, we will have more company internationally of carbon markets, and then is going to be an interesting debate, should we link up those carbon markets, which is another debate. Today we are having linking negotiations with Switzerland. They are almost finalized, but that's a good exercise for training ourselves for linking up later. It's not immediate, but later that may be a perspective.
So maybe in 10 years from now we may have a global ETS system?
Well, we hope and we should have, and economic science tells us that the most efficient way of cutting down emissions is to have a price, and as wide applicable a price as possible. So if you would come to a global carbon market price, that would of course be the ideal way of cutting down emissions in a rational and a cost-effective way.
Thank you, Jos.